Is Will Stein 2026's Curt Cignetti, or is he even 2026's Lane Kiffin? Or is this just the same old song that we heard from a new head coach who's coming to a bottom dweller that, well, believes that he's the dude to flip it into a world beater? Let's talk about what Will Stein actually said about it being about him and why he thinks Kentucky can do some of the same things that Indiana has done in maybe the same amount of time. All that's coming up after the bumper. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and join the more than 214,000 subscribers to Adapt and Respond, a college football podcast. Share this episode with a friend, like the video, and answer this question in the comments below. Do you think that Will Stein can turn Kentucky into a college football playoff team? Can he do what Curt Cignetti did in year one at Indiana? Because after today's appearance as the head coach at Kentucky at SEC Media Days, Will Stein left nothing to our imagination about just why he believes Kentucky is about to go doing big things. So I'm going to give you the whole quote, and we're going to talk about what he said and kind of unpack this a little bit further as what we know about coaches talking in July, what Steve Spurrier used to call talking season, right? So Stein says, I think because of me, to be honest. Because of me. I think I know what it takes. I've seen it at the highest levels. I know what it takes to recruit at this level. You just got to believe, man. You just got to put the ball down and play. There's not really much else to be said. Is it going to happen overnight? I don't know. I really don't know. If I had a crystal ball, everybody in this room would be really, really rich right now. I don't. The best determination of if what you're doing is working is putting the ball down and playing football. Stein's coming from an Oregon program that has been absolutely outstanding since Dan Lanning became its head coach and hired Will Stein to run the offense. Year in, year out, they are one of the better scoring teams, better rushing teams in football since 2022. It's a top 25 offense, no matter where you're looking for your metrics. And they won the Big Ten championship in their first year in the league. USC can't even make the college football playoff, right? Comparing like for like. Last year, Oregon put up 450 yards of offense and 37 points a game. Their only losses were to the national champion, Indiana, right? They lost at home to them, and they lost in the Peach Bowl to them. After that, good luck, right? Stein finally takes a job at a Power 4 program like I've been asking for. Before Marcus Freeman became the head coach at Notre Dame, and even before he was defense coordinator at Notre Dame, I was standing on the table saying, somebody make this man a Power 4 head coach, as he was the defense coordinator at Cincinnati. He has it. He's a great head coach. He's a great recruiter. He understands the modern player, and he is unafraid of the challenges that college football faces right now. I think Will Stein very much fits into the same dynamic. He's an outstanding play caller. He is an outstanding recruiter. He is unafraid of the challenges of today's modern college football. And I genuinely believe that his belief can carry them to places that Kentucky football has not been before. Now, in fairness to Mark Stoops, Kentucky hasn't been a bottom dweller the whole time. In fact, compared to other programs in and around the Power 4, if you put Kentucky in the Big 12, pick a year, that might be a top 4 program, might be a top 3 program. Say the same thing about the ACC. Problem is you play in the SEC, right? So going bowling in that league as Kentucky is about what you could ask for. But when you're seeing teams like Missouri get good in a hurry, Ole Miss get good in a hurry, A&M finally make the college football playoff, you want to see some things happen for you. And now that you've seen Indiana, a basketball school, become the best football program in the country last 2 years, you have some aspirations yourself as a basketball school in Kentucky. So you hire a guy who grew up rooting for the program, played ball at the other place, right, Louisville, but is one of my favorite guys to hear talk about making plays and designing his offense. I wrote a big piece about Will Stein going into Oregon's game against Penn State last year. And one of the things that I really wanted to educate readers about is that Will Stein is a player's coach. Will Stein has always been a player's coach. Will Stein is about playmakers. He's about Jimmys and Joes. We give him a lot of X's and O's conversation, but what he does well is find out who wants the ball and goes and gets them the ball. Favorite story about Will Stein ain't about making Dante Moore into a great quarterback or Dylan Gabriel into a great quarterback. He's done that, right? Or recruiting DeCorian Moore or Evan Stewart or what they were doing with Troy Franklin. I can keep going. You know, they got dudes, right? Bucky Irving. It's about being the offensive coordinator at UTSA and having a player whose name escapes me now, and I'll look it up, who was on the sideline, going up and down, following coach around, Stein going, give me the ball. Give me the ball. Throw me the ball. Now, Stein says, look, some coaches would say, get that kid away from me. We're playing team football. I know what I'm doing. I don't want to hear about this me stuff. But Stein, who's a quarterback and who fancies himself a playmaker, says, you know, generally speaking, the kid that's following you around who wants the ball has probably busted his ass at practice, is probably styling at practice, doesn't really put the ball on the floor, and you can always trust him, and it is usually out of their character to go asking for the rock. So in that case, I look at him, I say, what do you want? Give me the bubble screen. You got a bubble screen. Next play, right? Puts him in there. Kid took a bubble screen 70 yards to the house. He knew what he knew. He knew what he knew. Okay? And because he knew what he knew, he could trust his players to go make plays. And because his players knew I got to measure this dude across from me in a way that a coach never can, you can trust him. For me, it's A.D. Mitchell against Washington in the college football playoff. A.D. Mitchell, who had basically shaken a cornerback out of his socks and was mad at the sideline, yelling at the sideline, pointing at this dude going, he can't guard me. He can't, give me the ball. Throw me the rock. Next play, Steve Sarkisian says, fade, AD. And AD shook dude, went to the corner, turned up, high point the ball, brought it down over dude's dead body. Now, if that is the kind of player that is at Kentucky, if that's what he thinks he can get out of Kenny Minchie, if that's what he thinks he can get out of Kentucky football, hell, I'll watch it. Because I like nothing more than somebody getting a Shane Falco moment. I love it. Hey, look, I know you're tired. I know you're bleeding. And I'd like to say something really inspirational, but that just really ain't our style. Okay? Pain Hill, 60 cars, glory lasts forever. Now, other than me, who wants the ball? And then Brian, you want it, Brian. Let's hook up. That is what I want to see. I want to see dudes grow up. I want to see a kiddo who has said, "Oh, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I'm still that guy. Coach, I'm that guy. You're that guy. Let's go." And then you get to do that coaching stuff, which is where you're not really running a damn thing. Your players are. And you get to take a step back, fold your arms, and watch your men go to work because you practice for this. And they are talented enough to get this done, and they all want to win in the worst way. Now, that to the side, is it likely that Will Stein is just talking? Because talk is season, Steve Spurrier? Yeah. Is it likely that, well, it turns out that they go 6-6 or even 4-8? More than so than not. Curt Cignetti feels like lightning in a bottle. But I do love that his belief begins with himself. Because as long as his belief begins with himself, he empowers his players to believe in themselves. And that becomes, I believe in this dude over here because he wants it like I want it. He studies like I study. He practices like I practice. And that's how you create something that is greater than the sum of its parts. And that is how you go win football games. you like the segment, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with more. Deuces.